Well, the military has lamented, and they are going to start actually assigning women to more combat roles. I, for one, could not be happier. But there's still other issues that need to be addressed. And no, I'm sorry, those of you who feel that, well, I can't have women out in the field. I talk dirty stuff out there, and I'm gonna have to be. Am I gonna have to be worried about being sued for sexual harassment now? Do you even know how women work? Have you even met a woman in your life that wasn't a Playboy centerfold or some crap like that? With all due respect, some women can be just as bad as men and don't mind it. Now, if women start throwing sexual harassment suits left and right that are undue, then you might have a case there. But you're prejudging your fellow women soldiers and thinking that they're just going to be too sensitive, too, in some cases, mamby-pamby, despite all the other world armies that successfully have integration of men and women on the front lines without any problems. And you don't really care about the manner of things. You're just worried that your boys' club is going to be broken up, and maybe in certain cases, like the case of male on female rape or even male on male rape, which does happen, that this stuff gets addressed. But I'm going to let Miss Duckworth talk about the move to include more women in more forward positions in the battlefield, which I think is good, by the way. Wounded vet Duckworth. I didn't lose my leg in a bar fight. She and other women say women already are in combat. Critics still hate move. Here's a look at some of the yays and nays regarding the Pentagon's decision to lift the ban on women in combat. Representative Tammy Duckworth. The Illinois congresswoman who lost both her legs as a helicopter pilot in Iraq praises the move as a, quote, long overdue, end quote, because it will help get more qualified women in key combat posts, reports Politico. Besides, quote, the reality of the ground in a 360 battlefield is that women have been serving in combat, end quote, she adds, reports NECN. I didn't lose my legs in a bar fight. Kayla Williams, The Guardian. She also served in combat in Iraq and says generals have long skirted the ban with semantics by attaching rather than assigning us to combat units. She too applauded the move as a long overdue nod to the reality and thinks that it will help the military culture of sexual harassment, which I agree with, which is going to be something I'm going to be talking about later on in this evening here as I start to wrap up. National Review, Heather McDonald's National Review calls it a bad idea, she writes. Expect reports of sexual assaults to increase given the close quarters and physical fitness standards to decline. Oh boy, I've heard this one before. The downside to such a policy are legion of obvious. The downsiders to such the downsides to such a policy are legion and unobvious. The only reason to pursue this is to placate feminist insatiability and narcissistic drive for absolute equality between the sexes. You mean they just want equality and to be treated like everybody else? Oh, noes, that's terrible. Go to hell, Heather. But as to this, they're already in close quarters, okay? Part of tonight's going to be devoted to the problems of those close quarters situations. The vets who are being raped and who are being disrespected, some of whom are getting a less than honorable discharge for blowing the whistle on a situational rapist that the military admits that they know some of the people who have tried to rape or have committed rape before going into the military before and will still take them. And that's not right. That doesn't fix things because, as stated, it's not just a woman problem. Men are getting raped too. And just as I've said, when the court started to say that rape is an occupational hazard, as it is, before the ban was lifted, if they can't guarantee that even me as a man cannot be will be free from rape, or will be protected from rape, and even more so that my case will be taken seriously and prosecuted, that they cannot guarantee that that will happen, then why would I go into the military? I don't commit crimes in part because I don't want to get raped in prison or have to deal with people trying to rape me in prison. Why would I join the military if they give me the same odds for being raped in the military as I would in prison? Maybe even more so. So, and then you want to say, oh no, we can't be progressive. We can't fix this little problem with our military, or that all these women, all these rape victims are lying. Don't tell me it doesn't happen, because I've got a link to say otherwise. I think this is perfectly fine. And I think you should go to hell, Heather, because you're one of these people who should be like, well, women want more combat roles. Well, expect to be raped. They're getting raped anyways. And their cases are not being handled very well, as will be evident at the end of this night with the links I have to talk about. Daily Caller editor Tucker Carlson also hates it, tweeting that the White House, quote, boasts about sending women to the front lines on the same day Democrats push the Violence Against Women Act. Daily Intel rebuts him, saying he's confused about the difference between domestic violence and combat. Yeah, he is. The week has more on Carlson's meme. So links down in the underbar. Part of the rest of this night is going to be focusing on military rape and the improvements, or if you can call it that, in those situations. And then I'm going to start finishing off with things that I've been wanting to cover for some time now and haven't had a chance to do so.